Hey y'all, Chef IrixGuy here, and within this video I'm going to show you how to make homemade beef jerky. And this right here is an eye of round. This is about a, let's see, how much does this weigh? 2.11 pounds, so not a huge one, but a pretty good size eye of round. And we're going to show you step by step how to slice it, how to marinate it. You may have checked out my separate video where I made beef jerky in my electric smoker. Now that may be a way you want to go about it. Try that out if you like the hickory smoke. Go for it. Within this video, I'm going to show you how I do homemade beef jerky in a dehydrator. Just a basic dehydrator. And by the way, you can expand this video's description and then click the link there to find where to order the dehydrator like I use online, as well as all the marinades. I'm going to link it all there, make it simple. If you want very easy to make, affordable to make beef jerky that tastes great, you found the right place. And you know, you go to the store now, you get beef jerky, it's expensive, the meat quality tends to be kind of questionable, and it's just not good, man. The texture, the flavor, it's just not good. There's some good beef jerky out there, but for the most part, the mainstream beef jerky you find is going to be extremely expensive, and it's not going to be that good. And even with a smaller, again, this 2.11 pound eye of round is not a huge cut of meat, but when you see how much beef jerky this will produce, and then you look at your popular store and you look at a little bag of, you know, mainstream brand beef jerky is expensive and not that good, you're going to see what a good deal this is. And you know, my big thing with anything is flavor, freshness, affordability. You know, you gotta have all that for a quality food product. And the value add of this is that once I make a few batches of beef jerky, that dehydrator like I'm using, that's linked within this video's description, it'll pay for itself. You know, what is my ROI, my return on investment? You know, how many batches of beef jerky do I have to make before I break even? Not many at all. So that's a really cool thing. And I'm going to take it to the next level, and I'm going to showcase this in a separate video. I don't want to go too deep within this video because this video is step by step how to make amazing beef jerky using a dehydrator. But I'm also going to explain within future videos how to package it for backpacking, you know, how to vacuum seal it. You know, you want to take it out on the Appalachian Trail, how do you do that? Well, you know, that'll be a separate video, but let's just go ahead and get over here to the cutting board and let's chop right into this. We're going to go through it step by step. Yeah, so the eye of round, you just want to, and I'm just using a standard serrated steak knife. You could use a chef knife, but this just kind of makes it easier. Now, there's going to be some really small chunks, and then I'm going to slice some that are, you don't want it too thin, but you don't want it, obviously you don't want it thick. So see that right there? And as we go through this eye of round, we're going to start getting longer pieces because that was just the tail end of it. See that? And again, you can use a chef knife. You'll probably find that unless you got a really sharp chef knife, that like I'm using a serrated steak knife. I mean, I'm trying to keep this simple. You know, not all of y'all are chefs, so I'm trying to keep it simple. You know, most everybody's got some steak knives in their little cabinet. So, you know, this doesn't have to be a science. You can, I mean, you don't have to measure it. You can just kind of eyeball it. See, that's a longer piece. See about how thick that is? I've chopped up an eye of round, and I've got first step done. This is for the raccoons, this fat. So I'm gonna put it in my raccoon area, man. Okay. Now this right here is something you're going to want to order, and I've linked it within this video's description. So you're going to want to order the air fryer and this marinade. This marinade is hard to find. It's from Paris, Tennessee. But I'm going to put a generous amount of this marinade in there. If you don't want to use a marinating dish like I'm using, you could use a zippy bag. But personally, I like this because it's reusable. I can put it in the dishwasher and I don't waste all those, have to dispose of all those little plastic bags. So I put a generous amount of that marinade in there, and then some garlic powder. Just garlic powder like you've probably got in your pantry already. I'm gonna put that in there. Generous amount of garlic powder. Alternatively, you could use freshly chopped garlic clove, but I'm trying to keep this simple for the masses. Now, one thing you do want to use, and I am very, extremely adamant about this, pepper that you get in a box is not good. You want a proper pepper mill, and I've linked the one like I use within this video's description, and peppercorns. Because when you put freshly ground pepper on something, you get the proper pepper flavor profile. Proper pepper flavor profile. Proper pepper flavor profile. So, and I recommend like this pepper mill like I'm using, I've got a coarse setting. I like coarsely ground fresh black pepper. So I'm putting some on while it marinates, but when the marination process, and by the way, how long do I marinate this? I'm going to marinate it overnight. So, from my experience, if you go 10 to 24 hours, it should have a very good flavor profile from the marinade. And again, the marinade like I use, I'll link within this video's description. When you take it out of the marinade, we're going to do some more fresh ground pepper, but that's not until we get it ready after it's marinated overnight and when we get it ready to put in the dehydrator. But that's it right there. That is the marinated, precisely chopped eye of round. I'm going to tightly cover it. Again, if you don't have a marinating dish like I have, you could use a casserole dish with a cover. You could use a zip bag. There's a variety of ways you can tightly cover your meat for marinating overnight in the refrigerator. But again, make sure it's covered, because if it's not, number one, it's not going to marinate as well, and number two, that air from the refrigerator hitting it could lead to tough meat, and you don't want that. So I'm going to put this in the fridge. I'm going to put it in there for probably, I don't know if I'm going to go 24 hours. I may go more like 15 or 14 because I'm probably going to do the next part of this video in the morning. But you got to let it marinate in the fridge at least, I would say at a minimum, at least for probably 8 hours. Don't rush the process, because beef jerky, that flavor that you're getting from it is heavily linked to the, number one, the quality of the meat, but number two, the way that the meat's been marinated. Okay, so I've cleaned my dehydrator before the first use, and I ran it through the cycle for about 45 minutes actually. So everything is clean, everything is ready to cook on here. So what we're going to do, starting at the bottom layer. Now, if I'm going to do some spicier, maybe some ghost pepper jerky as well, which I am, I'm going to put it on the bottom layer, and then that way, the as it dehydrates, that extra spice is not going to fall on the less spicy pieces, because you don't want that for people that may not appreciate the extra spiciness. So we're going to put these pieces here on the bottom. These are going to be the ghost pepper. And again, I didn't put the ghost pepper in my marinade because I'm just going to sprinkle a lot of it on it before we start the dehydration process here. So, and what you may want to do too, if you're you know, your jerky out of the marinade is a little bit drippy, you may want to pat it down with a paper towel or something that doesn't shed, so you can kind of dry it a little bit before you put it in your dehydrator here. So see this, and I want to keep it separated if I can. This is going to be the ghost pepper. So I'm going to put some ghost pepper on this bottom layer only. And again, it's the bottom because I don't want this ghost pepper to fall on the pieces that aren't ghost pepper jerky. So I'm going to put this on here. And then also, for good measure, we may also want to add a little bit of extra cracked peppercorn. Fresh ground pepper, you know, set it on your, and you can find the pepper mill like I'm using linked within this video's description. I'm going to set it on the most coarse and just really give that really good peppercorn effect. I'm going to put that on there. So that's my ghost pepper level, which is on the bottom. The next thing we can do is put our next layer on, which this layer is not ghost pepper. This layer I'm going to do cayenne. Cayenne's not quite as spicy as ghost pepper, but it's spicier than just standard black pepper. So we're going to do a layer of cayenne jerky right here. We're going to put that on this layer. And again, I think, what did I say earlier in this video? Is this a 2.11 pound eye of round? So you're really getting a visual for how much meat this 2.11 pound eye of round has produced. So it's, you know, it's a good amount. And again, you know, if you're like me and you look at jerky prices in your store, and you know, the dissatisfaction that you get when you buy that store-bought jerky, this is really an incredible value. Okay, so we got these here. These are going to be the cayenne pepper. So again, they've all got the same base marinade that you saw earlier in this video, but these I'm enhancing the spiciness. So this is cayenne pepper. Again, not as hot, not as spicy as ghost pepper, but you know, definitely a step up from standard black pepper. Okay, so there's our cayenne level, and then the next levels we're just going to do the standard marinade as you saw when I prepared it. So it's really nice. You can see how these stack. You know, you could do beef jerky on one. You could do so many different things at the same time. Now, keep in mind, some things require different temperature settings. So if you were doing all beef, you know, maybe one layer you could do beef, the other layer you could do, maybe you've got a deer, you could do some venison. You know, you could do a lot of different types of meat concurrently because of all these levels. It's a really nice design. I tell you, they Elite Gourmet has done something exceptional when they created this dehydrator. Now, even though these are not going to have any ghost pepper or cayenne added, I am going to put some you know, some freshly ground pepper. Just again, part of it is the visual, and then the other part is I really like freshly ground black pepper. And again, I put some on when I made the marinade, or when I put it in the marinade, but it's good to have a little extra just for that appearance. And if you like me, again, you like black pepper, you just like that flavor. So we're going to put that there. Now, see, some of these that were towards the bottom of the marinade, I should use a paper towel and blob them off, but I'm just going to kind of let them shake off here. Yeah, this is an incredible amount. You know, one thing, if you, and again, you can expand this video's description and click the link there to find the dehydrator like I'm using. But you know, if you read some of the reviews, you know, one might assume that this is a little bit small, and it's actually not. I mean, again, you saw how much, you saw this step by step, how I prepared, sliced the eye round, marinated the eye round. I mean, you know, it was a big piece of meat. So I mean, this is a lot of meat. Every bit of that meat is going in here. I didn't, except for that tiny piece of fat earlier in the video that I discarded and gave to the raccoons. You know, everything is going in here. So yeah, a lot of meat. Let's see, we're going to do one more. Let's see, right here. Put this in here. Okay, now I should have enough room in the final layer for the rest of the jerky. And again, this is fresh ground pepper, as you know. I'm getting this on here for the added effect. Now we're going to do the final layer. And let's see, let's put this on here. And we're going to put this on. Yeah, it's going to fit it all. Was it a 2.11 pound eye round? Wow. I mean, that is incredible, man. Absolutely incredible. We're getting this much meat. And the good thing is, you know, this is one of those things, unless you're dehydrating jerky or fruit or something like that, you're probably not going to want to keep this out. So it being small like this, but, you know, kind of goes up. As you see, you got multiple layers. And if you weren't smoking this much meat, you wouldn't have, I'm not smoking, but if you weren't dehydrating this much meat, you wouldn't have to use all the layers. But, you know, as demonstrated here, I mean, it's working out perfectly. I mean, for this 2.11 pound eye of round, it looks like this is going to be about the optimal size. I mean, this is incredible. Yeah, here's a little last piece right here. So there's that, and I'm going to put my, again, fresh ground pepper on this. We're just going to do this right. But again, if you're doing different spice intensities, it's important to keep those that are spicier on the bottom so that the, you know, as this dehydrates, that the juices don't fall on the meat that's not supposed to be as spicy. So now what we do is put the final piece on, the top piece right here. And then we turn this on. It actually says meats and fish 156. So I'm just going to turn it all the way to the right. And I'm going to set a timer. And again, it's probably going to be probably 5 hours. Maybe I'm going to check it around 3 hours. But probably somewhere between 3 or 5 hours. So we're going to do, you know, a follow-up. It is going now. I just turned it on. So we're going to let this do its thing, and we're going to check back in. But, you know, like I said, probably 3 or 5 hours, but we'll see. Okay, so this has been 5 hours. I'm going to turn this off and open this up here. This is going to be very hot, by the way. I can feel the texture is what I want. What I'm going to do as a final step is take all of this out and put it on a baking dish. I've got my oven preheated to 275, and I'm going to put this in there for 10 minutes at 275 just to make sure everything is, you know, is safe to eat, obviously. But the texture and everything of this is amazing. And you may not have to do this next step that I'm about to perform. I mean, that's completely up to you. I'm going to do it just for added safety, I guess. I mean, not that I'm that concerned, but man, this is amazing. Wow. So again, this was 5 hours at the max temperature setting on this. Now remember, my top 3 trays are just the peppered jerky. And as we get into the bottom 2, the bottommost, well, this one right here is the last one of peppered jerky. And then once we go below this, we get the next level is cayenne. And then the final level is ghost pepper. So the bottom's going to be the hottest, spiciest, I should say. Yeah, this is amazing. Let's see. Take this out. And I'm just going to do the peppered jerky first because I don't want to, again, I don't want to get the extra spicy stuff mixed in with the with just the peppered stuff. But let me bring this up. Well, actually, let me bring the camera close to it. Let's do that. Look at that, man. Wow. I mean, that is professional. That is professional right there, man. So let's go ahead and put it in the oven, 275 for 10 minutes. Okay, so 10 minutes in the oven to just kind of finish it up. And we're gonna see what we got here. I'm gonna bring the camera close so you can see, but I just wanted to show you, getting it out of the oven here. So here's the finished product after I finished it off in the oven at 275 for 10 minutes. Obviously it was already dehydrated and ready prior to that, but I did the finishing step in the oven just for a little bit of extra food safety. So you can see when I crush those peppercorns on it, I've got that very nice peppercorn coating on the outside. This of course is the, in my batch, this is the mild beef jerky. I've got the cayenne pepper, which is a spice level up, and then the spiciest one, which is ghost pepper. I'm doing those separately so I don't inadvertently package the extra spicy with this. But man, this looks good, and it is good. I've already eaten like 5 pieces. So that's how you make beef jerky in a dehydrator. There's so many different ways you can do it. This is how I did it. Play with different marinades, different types of meat, and tell me what you think within the comment section below. And be sure to subscribe to my channel, ring that bell, and check out all my videos. And again, you can expand this video's description and then click the link there to find all the equipment that I use to make this beef jerky. It's outstanding, and it blows the stuff that's store-bought in the dirt, in my opinion. Thanks for your viewership, and y'all have a good day. Hey y'all, IrixGuy here. I hope you enjoyed this video, and please be sure to subscribe to my channel, and when you do, ring that bell icon to be notified whenever I post another video. Thanks for your viewership, and y'all have a good day.